3 in the morning. I opened my eyes and my body wasn't mine anymore. I tried to sit up. Nothing. I tried to lift a finger, turn my head, anything. Dead weight. An invisible hand pressed on my chest, heavy and slow, squeezing out the air. I wanted to scream, but my throat had been switched off. No sound came. And in that suffocating dark, I was certain of one thing. Something was in the room with me, standing just past the foot of the bed, waiting. I couldn't run. I couldn't even shut my eyes. I could only lie there and wait for it to reach me. For a few endless seconds, I was sure I wouldn't make it out. Then, just like that, it let go. I shot upright, gasping, soaked through. The room was empty. It always was. But the real horror hit me later. What nearly broke me that night wasn't a ghost, a disease, or a mind coming apart. It was sleep. Plain, ordinary sleep, the thing we surrender to every night, trusting it completely. And that trust, it turns out, might be the biggest mistake we make. Here's why. Do the math on your own life, and it gets ugly fast. Sleep eats around 30 years of it. 3 decades where the lights are off and nobody's home. A third of everything you'll ever be, gone. You won't remember those hours. You won't live them. They just vanish, quietly deleted, night after night. And you'd think we'd at least know what we're paying all that for. We don't. Look how far we've come. We've taken the brain apart, cell by cell, photographed black holes billions of miles away, built machines that hold conversations. But ask science one plain question. Why does a human need to sleep, and it still has no full answer? Not a clean one, not a final one. The biggest riddle in all of biology isn't hiding out in deep space. It's lying in your bed, right now, every night of your life. And the deeper I dug, the colder it got. Because the first real clue was hiding somewhere I never expected. In the glitches. The tiny broken details your dreams have shown you all along. Here's what nobody tells you. When you're awake, the brain just receives the world, takes in what's already there. The second you fall asleep, it stops receiving and starts building. It builds an entire world out of nothing, live, on the fly, and runs it like a game on the cheapest hardware imaginable, cutting every corner it can. Want proof? Try these 2 tonight. First, try to read something, a sign, a page, a text. You can't. The letters wriggle and rearrange, look away and back, and they say something else entirely. Drawing real, readable words on demand is expensive, so your brain fakes something shaped like text and hopes you don't lean in. Second, try a light switch. You flip it and nothing happens, or the light comes out wrong. Same story. Recalculating how light fills a whole room isn't worth it, so it doesn't bother. See the pattern? The brain is constantly faking it, constantly cutting corners. Which brings us to a far creepier question. What does that make everyone standing around you? Extras. Background NPCs, exactly like in a game. Think about the random people in your dreams, the crowd, the faces in a room. They're smudged, interchangeable, looping the same movements. Stare hard and one stutters and comes apart. Rendering every stranger in detail is a waste, so it doesn't. Cheap wins. But here's what got under my skin. A stranger in a dream can feel like the closest person alive. You see a face you've never seen, yet you know, bone deep, it's your best friend. Or some random man is your father, though he looks nothing like him. How? Awake, we know people by their faces. Asleep, the brain skips the face and slaps on a label, friend, mother, danger. The role is locked. The face is whatever. Cheapest trick in the book. Cheap, faked, but convincing. That's the exact definition of a simulation. A world you can't tell from the real one. So how sure are you this one is real? But that's not even the strangest part. Some nightmares show up in people who've never met. Take 2 people on opposite ends of the planet, different languages, different centuries, nothing in common, yet at night their brains screen the exact same horror movie. It sounds impossible. It isn't. Take the one where your teeth start to go. You run your tongue over them and they wobble, crack, and drop into your palm one by one, and you can't stop it. Millions who've never shared a room have lived that exact moment. Or the one where you realize you're standing in a crowd with no clothes on, nowhere to hide. Or the classic, a final exam in an hour for a class you never once attended, and the dread swallows you whole. Here's the key. It isn't the pictures that line up. The places, faces, and details differ for everyone. What matches is the storyline, And above all, the feeling. It's as if the same handful of nightmares were pre-installed in all of us. Which left me one question I couldn't drop. If we share no language and no memory, then who exactly wrote these dreams into all of us? The first answer comes from Carl Jung, and it's a little unsettling. His claim, underneath the surface, every human runs the same machinery. Not the same personality, the same foundation. Buried in all of us sits the same stack of primal fears. Losing control, humiliation, helplessness, a threat closing in. Those fears predate any country or language. The caveman had them, so do you. Because the fears are shared, the brain reaches for shared images to express them. Think of a road sign or an emoji. You don't need the local language to know a red octagon means stop, or a little skull means this is very bad. Your sleeping brain speaks the same way. Symbols anyone can read, from a huge city to a village in the middle of nowhere. So no, it isn't magic or a glitch in the matrix. Millions dream alike, for a boringly simple reason. One shared biology, one shared set of fears. But that's only half the story. There's a second explanation, and it flips everything you just heard on its head. We keep assuming a dream is a movie, a story with a start and an end. So try to replay one. You're at home. Then a blink later you're in your old school, which is also an airport, and your grandmother stands there with your teacher's face. None of it feels strange. Here's why. Your brain isn't shooting a movie. It doesn't care about plot or logic or one scene leading to the next. It has one job, to make you feel something. So it grabs a raw emotion, shame, fear, dread, and throws the nearest image over it, so you live through it. Need shame? There you are, naked in a crowd. Need the terror of loss? Your teeth start falling out. The meaning was never in the scenery. It's in what you felt. So stop decoding dreams like a puzzle box. There's no code. A dream isn't a story at all. It's an emotion wearing a costume. But if a dream is pure feeling and the picture barely matters, something impossible is still on the table. What does a person dream if they've never seen a single thing in their life? The answer is stranger than you'd guess. Someone blind from birth does dream, absolutely. But there's not one picture in it. No faces, no colors, no light, nothing eyes could ever catch. The reason is almost painfully simple. The brain has nothing to build an image from. You can't paint red you've never seen. You can't picture a face if faces never existed for you. So their dreams are a different world entirely, built from sound, smell, touch, and the feeling of space around them. They don't watch the dream. They hear it, feel it on the skin. Lose your sight later, around age 6, and it shifts. The brain kept a tiny archive, so faint shapes and smears of light still drift through. And the universal dreams, falling, being chased, they live too, just through the body, not the eyes. Which nails it. A dream was never the picture. The picture is just wrapping paper. Once you accept sleep runs deeper than sight, you have to ask something wilder. What if you don't even need a brain to do it? And it turns out you don't. Here's where it gets bizarre, and it's proven in a lab. Take a jellyfish. No brain, no nervous system to speak of, basically a drifting bag of cells. And yet at night, it powers down. It slows, stops reacting, and if you nudge it awake, it responds groggy and slow, just like you, dragged out of bed at 3 in the morning. No brain, and it still sleeps. And it doesn't stop there. Fruit flies sleep too. Keep one awake too long, and it gets sluggish, foggy, and eventually dies. Tiny worms go still. Plants switch their metabolism at night and fold their leaves, like they're clocking out. Even bacteria, about as simple as life gets, drop into a low-power mode that looks exactly like sleep. And that rearranges everything. If things with 0 neurons sleep, sleep was never built to reboot the brain. It existed long before the first neuron ever fired, which means it does something far bigger. And to find out what, you leave biology behind and turn to physics. Physics has a rule that shows up everywhere. Any complex system, anything built from countless parts pushing on each other, piles up chaos, errors, glitches, noise. To keep from tearing apart, it must periodically dump that junk and rebuild cleaner. Sound familiar? It's your phone. You run it all day, 100 tabs open, and by night it lags and overheats. What do? Restart it. Suddenly it's fast again. It flushed everything clogging it up. That's exactly what sleep is, an ancient reset button that does to a body what a reboot does to a frozen phone. Clear the mess, rebuild. Which means sleep isn't a quirk of evolution. It's a built-in law of life itself, older than the brain that runs it. So here's what I want to know. Is sleep really the foundation of everything alive, or did I just fall too far down the rabbit hole? Drop your take in the comments, I read every one. And if any of this got to you, subscribe so you don't sleep through the next one. Alright, I'm off to reboot.